Good evening and welcome to Marmalead's webinar. I'm going to start out by telling you what the webinar is about, then we're going to introduce ourselves, and then get right into the core of why you're here tonight. Alright, so for those of you who don't know what Marmalade is the best Etsy SEO and keyword research tool. Tonight, you're going to learn how to turn your craft into a business, how to understand the best keywords. So a lot of you have asked, okay, I understand I'm looking for keywords, I'm looking for tags, but how do I know what a good one is? We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to teach you how to not only understand that, but how to make it easy with Marmalade. Easy is relative. It's still going to be hard, but it's going to be a lot easier than without Marmalade. Michelle from 4-Letter Word Cards is going to give live shop critiques. And then at the very end, we're going to have a sneak peek of the next new Marmalade feature. All right. Hello, this is Richie from Marmalade. My main role at Marmalade is product market fit and growth. Basically, I make sure that we're building the right things for Etsy sellers to solve the most pressing problems. So I'm talking to a lot of you guys. I'm making partnerships with blogs, content creators, and shops and content creators like Michelle here. My background is in finance at Sherwin-Williams, the large paint company, and also a product manager at a small software company. Gordon, let me switch over to you.
Hello, I am Gordon from Marmalade. I'm responsible for the design and the development of the application. My full-time job is a UI UX designer. I really love making things, so any kind of side little project where I get to make something is always fun for me. Marmalade has been awesome to work on so far. All of you guys and lots of the other Etsy people that we've worked with so far have been fantastic to engage with, and it's just been a great experience so far. I'm really enjoying it. Michelle?
Whoops. My name is Michelle. I am actually the owner of 4-Letter Word Cards. It's, I would say, a more adultish greeting card company on Etsy. I opened October 31st of last year. I have 640 sales and I think 180 or 90 5-star reviews. Before my Etsy store, I actually worked in customer service for 15 years. I was a supervisor for a company for the last 3 years and trained a bunch of people in customer service for online companies. So that's what I do. And I am slowly growing my business, and I hope to help you guys all grow your business as well.
All right, so to kick things off, Richie touched on a little bit. What we'd like to talk about is when you're selling on Etsy, it's really important to target the right keywords that buyers are searching for and incorporate those keywords in your tags and your title. And so one of the things we'd like to talk about tonight is how do you find those keywords? How do you decide what are the right keywords? And that's actually a two-stage process. And what you're going to want to do in the first stage is build out a massive list of different keywords. Just brainstorm as many possible ones as you can. And then you're going to want to boil those down to a subset of keywords that actually work, ones that are converting, ones that people are actually browsing for. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that. So I'm going to kick this off with a little bit of information on how to gather a massive set of keywords. All right, so how do we get keyword ideas? The easiest way is to just start brainstorming. So I've grabbed a photo here of a silver starfish necklace that is listed on Etsy. If this is one of yours, it's nice. I like it. And I started kind of adopting this as my own. So I started here and I came up with 3 or 4 keywords to describe this. And that's really all you need to start with when you're trying to brainstorm keyword ideas is 3 or 4 things. And we'll show you how you can really blow up that list from here. So I started off calling it a starfish necklace, a starfish charm, a sea star necklace, because not all parts of the world might refer to these as starfish. Some people might call them sea stars. Also, I tried to think of one example of how someone might use this. And I thought of a beach wedding. Maybe they're attending a beach wedding and they're looking for some sort of a necklace that would go along with the rest of their attire, and maybe they're buying it as a gift for someone who's having a beach wedding. And finally, another thing you can do to help you generate these ideas is to ask your friends. And the way you would really want to frame this is, pick maybe 3 or 5 friends and ask them, how would you search for this item online? If you wanted to find this specific thing on the internet, what would you type into Etsy or to Google or wherever to find this item? So we're going to start with these 4 keywords here. And now we need a little help from Marmalade. So if you're an entrepreneur on Marmalade and you perform a basic keyword search for starfish necklace, on the right-hand side of the screen, you will see a column full of other ideas. And these are other ideas that we're pulling in from Bing search suggestions. So these are actual keyword searches done by Bing users. I'm sure most of them are looking for similar things online, probably even shopping for these things. So this is a great place to start for keyword suggestions because people are actually doing these searches. So I went through this big long list and I pulled out five of the keywords that I thought were pretty strong, and I've added them to my growing list of keywords there over on the left-hand side. So I've pulled in silver starfish, silver sea star pendant. Pendant is a new word. And you're starting to see here that I'm starting to mix things in. So I have pendant as a new keyword that I've pulled in. I can also describe that as a starfish pendant or a sea star pendant. Since I really don't know at this point which one's going to perform better, I'm just trying to collect a giant list here. So I do another search in Marmalade for starfish charm, which was the second keyword that I came up with. And again, if I look in the search suggestions on the right-hand side, I get a huge list of ideas. And I start to pull in some more of these things. Tiny starfish charm, and then starfish wedding, starfish jewelry, sea star jewelry. These seem kind of generic to me, but again, I'm not really concerned with that at this point. I'm just trying to build out a giant list. So one of the other things that I'd like to mention here real quick is that because these search suggestions are from Bing, they could potentially be longer than the 20-character limit that Etsy has on your tags. So you're going to want to be careful when you're picking through these things that the keyword phrases that you're adding to your list are 20 characters or less, so that we can make sure they'll fit into one of our tags on our listing and we can actually use them in our store. You can still get ideas from the keyword phrases that are longer than 20 characters. You'll just need to kind of rearrange them a little bit or get a little bit creative in how you can get those terms down to shorter than 20 characters. So moving on to my third keyword here, sea star necklace. One of the suggestions that came up for this one had to do with the Bahamas. And so I was like, oh, well, that's pretty interesting. I hadn't even considered like Bahamas as one of my keywords. So I threw a couple extra terms at the bottom of my list for Bahama sea star and Bahama starfish. Finally, the fourth keyword, beach wedding. And I've pulled in 3 more targeted keyword phrases around beach weddings. They're a bit more descriptive than just beach wedding, but there are 3 new areas that I can explore that might be good ways of tagging my item. So now we've been through the first 4 things, and we were really looking at the Bing search suggestions. Another great place to get help from Marmalade is in the tags section. Now, you don't even need to be an entrepreneur to have access to the tags that show down here. Just a basic account will give you access to those. This is a great place to look at what sort of tags other sellers are using in their listings that match your search that you're doing. So I'm doing a search for starfish necklace, and this is showing me how many items were tagged with each of these different phrases. Obviously, Etsy's doing a good job here, and they're pulling back every single item that I searched for. It has starfish necklace in the tag, since that's what I was actually looking for. But you can see a breakdown of all the other tags here, and this is a great place to look for other search suggestions, with the added bonus that you don't really have to worry about that 20-character limit because it's already an Etsy tag, so you know it's at least 20 characters or less. So here I've grabbed sea star necklace. Again, I'm going through the tag suggestions. The tag cloud at the bottom of the page does the same thing as the table if you prefer to look at it in that way. I've pulled in a couple other phrases here, ocean and coastal. And now we're looking at Bahama starfish because that one keyed me into the phrase Bahama. I kind of liked that, so I did a search for that one. One of the tags that shows up for this one is Bahama Islands, and this is a whole other word. I hadn't even thought of island necklace, but this brings me into another chain of keywords that I can use. that could very well be something that someone is searching for if they're going to an island wedding, or if they're just going on an island vacation. They're looking for something to wear to their trip. And then finally, beach wedding gift. I went ahead and did this one, and I added 4 more keywords to my list. So you can see I have this massive keyword list here of 37 different phrases and ways that people could potentially be shopping for my listing. So now what? Now what do I do? I need to somehow get this list of 37 different things down to only 13. And how do I decide what those top 13 are that I can use in my tags and in my title to attract the right people who are actually going to go ahead and make that purchase? So to get into that a little bit will be Richie.
All right, thank you, Gordon. Let me just transition from you presenting to me presenting. All right, so we're going to take those 13 keywords and we're going to get the very best ones. Before we do that, I'm going to drop in a definition in here. So let me switch over to my slides. All right, there's a lot of buzz about long-tail keywords. Long-tail keywords are made up of at least 2 words, so they're more specific. Silver starfish necklace, for example, that is a long-tail keyword. When you search for that, you're going to get a lot less results than searching for silver, on the other hand, which is not a long-tail keyword. So what it really does is it helps a machine like Etsy, like their search algorithm, understand what you're looking for and deliver more targeted results. So why do these matter? Etsy's search update for generic searches. Well, before, you could type in something like silver jewelry, and it'd just bring you back, if you can read the small print on here, 2.8 million results for different listings that fall under silver jewelry. But now, if you type that in, this is a screenshot directly from their page, from their search page. Now they're trying to get you to click rings, earrings, necklaces, bracelets, jewelry sets, and then if you scroll down, you can actually find silver jewelry actual listings, and again, there's 2.8 million of them. So if you want to stand out, you're going to have to understand what the long tail is, and you're going to have to make sure you pick the right 13 keywords. How to do that? The keyword comparison tool is going to be your friend here. It's going to help you identify the best keywords. There are 4 qualities of a good keyword. Competition that you can handle, meaning a number of search results that you can compete with. 2.8 million, that's going to be tough to be on the first page. A price range that's appropriate for your product. So if you're selling a $10 product, you probably don't want to be in a whole, you'd be presented on the same shelf, for instance, as a $100 product, or several $100 products, unless that's what you're going for. Hey, these are very expensive, mine is very cheap, take a look at mine if you want the low-cost alternative, or vice versa. Regardless, be aware of how you're pricing compared to your keyword. Good traffic. Of course, this is going to be relative, to the different keywords, right? So, especially also time of year. So there are going to be certain keywords that get a lot of traffic all year, or some that are very seasonal, or some that have a lot of traffic throughout the year but low conversion rates. So you're just going to have to figure out what's good for what you're selling, and when you pick all the different keywords that when you use the method that Gordon talked about, when you start narrowing those down, you're going to be able to see which ones are relatively better for traffic than the others. And then also top tags and items that are appropriate for your product. Okay, so here's a screenshot of the keyword comparison tool on Marmalade. You can see from left to right, I'm going from broad to specific, and I'm doing this to kind of point out the difference between some of these keywords. On the left, you have silver jewelry. There's more than 50,000 results. There's probably a lot more. We don't show anything higher than 50,000, but when you see 50,000, just know that you're in a competitive market. Going to the right, you have starfish jewelry. Here you have almost 29,000 results. This is going to be a lot more manageable. Silver starfish, even more targeted. And silver starfish necklace at just 5,500 results to compete with. So if you're competing there, that's going to be a lot easier, again, than trying to get on the first page against, let's say, silver jewelry where you have 2.8 million. Next, the 100 means this is how many results we've analyzed to get to the numbers below. So we have a price range. You can see this little black box with a max, a min, and an average. When you hover over these yellow boxes, it's going to give you the actual values of how those listings, when they're analyzed, compare. So you can see Starfish Jewelry has a maximum price of $148, a minimum price of $2.75, and of those 100 listings, the average is $30. Why 100? Because those are the top listings. And that's really who you're competing with. You're not really competing with those at the back. You're competing with the top listings. Average favorites per week. I like to think of favorites as engagement. Okay. Actually, I think I'm driving into this a little ahead of time. Apologize. Pricing, engagement, and traffic. So I just talked about the pricing. Favorites, I like to think of as engagement. Okay, so you really should like the things you're favoriting, because if you've noticed, everything you favorite, when you go to log into Etsy, your home page is going to be full of the things you favorited. So if you start favoriting things you don't really like, expect to see them everywhere while you're in Etsy. So favorite things you like, it shows you more of them. That's engagement. Views, I'm just checking it out. I'm just clicking it. Those I just consider traffic. And the reason we use per week is it really kind of levels it out. So if you're getting an average favorites per week, an average views per week, it gets rid of those spikes throughout the day. As we all know, different days of the week have different traffic for whatever reason. Maybe it's a nice weekend and everyone's out and about and they're not on their computers. And then they get back to the office during the week and they start browsing around during lunch. And that bottom part of the screen I showed a little bit earlier helps you figure out, does it fit? Are the top tags relevant to what I'm selling? So here are the top tags. Starfish Jewelry appears 99 times. Beach Jewelry, 35 times. Starfish Necklace, 30 times. Does what I'm selling fit with this? Because these are the products that my item is going to be up against. And if it doesn't fit at all, but this market has things that fit with it, they're not going to click me and I'm wasting a keyword. Don't waste your keywords in markets that aren't relevant. Are the other listings like mine? So we have top items. If you hover over these, you're going to see the full title name. If you click them, it's going to actually open up Etsy and you're going to be able to see that listing on Etsy. Take a look at their images and see what you're competing with there. These are the top items on there. This is 1 through 5. Are they competitive? So what does it really take to be the top 5 listings there? What do their pictures look like? What do their descriptions look like? Really understand your competition. Also, now I'm going to talk about something called the 5-stage customer journey. I'm going to go from broad to specific. And the very first one, the leftmost broad, is they're lost. Okay, this shopper, this Etsy user is on Etsy, but they're window shopping. They're just browsing without a purpose. They don't have much else to do. It's kind of like when you're flipping through Facebook, just kind of scrolling through your news feed. You don't really have an aim for it, but if you see something that catches your attention, you might dig in a little bit further. They're just browsing categories. They might not even search. Next, we have curious. Let's say they know they need to buy a gift. So they have somebody in mind, they have an event in mind, they know they need to buy something. Maybe jewelry will be a good fit. So they search for jewelry. But they might be searching other broad categories here as well. Next is organized. They know they need a category of a product. So they've sort of settled on something like silver jewelry. Okay, this person likes silver jewelry. Let's search there and keep narrowing it down. I know what they might like. I've already weeded out some things that I don't think they're going to like. Next is confident. And this is the last stage before they actually become a customer. They know they want a very specific type of product at this point. And for the first time, they really have an intent to buy when they know they find what they're looking for. Before, they're just kind of, again, browsing around, searching around. They think they're going to find what they like, but they don't really intend to buy it right now. Now, they're hot to buy. They're going to search for something like silver starfish necklace. And finally, they become your customer. And your job is to do these things. You need to convince them that your product is the right one. Because they're a customer when they know your product is the right one. When yours stands strong against the other silver starfish necklaces. Again, they're going to search for this. They're going to search for silver starfish necklace. They're going to look at your photos. They're going to read your description, and they need to fall in love with your product. And for that, it helps if you have a story to tell. So talk about it in your About page. Talk about it in your description. If there's a fun backstory to your shop, right? And we all know this is a handmade marketplace. People are looking here for a story. People are looking for a feeling, an experience. They want to share that with the person if it's a gift or if it's for themselves. When someone says, hey, I like that silver starfish necklace, they want to be able to say, yeah, I bought it on Etsy from, ABC shop, and the person who made it has this background and had this in mind, and just really love it. It's all about connection on Etsy. All right, now to break it up a little bit, we're going to throw in a little SEO joke. So let's talk about outrunning lions. Two men are walking through an African game reserve when they come across a lion. One of the men calmly puts on the running shoes he's been carrying. The other man laughs and says, "You'll never outrun a lion. Why even try?" The running shoe man calmly replies, "I don't have to outrun a lion. I just have to outrun you." So why do I tell you about this? Because too often I see people are trying to beat Etsy. They're trying to outgame the algorithm. They're trying to convince Etsy to do this or that so it's easier for them. But you have to understand that if you could beat Etsy, if you could game them, they're just going to move faster. But you can't because they're the lion, and you will never outrun them. So don't try to. Just outrun your competition, because honestly, they're not that fast. Which brings me to the next tool, and really the next urgency, which is maintaining your rank. So at this point, you found keywords, you picked the right ones, you're optimizing your listing. Michelle will tell you more about that. So you've done all this work, and you're ranking highly. Well, you're going to want to maintain that. The market is constantly changing. It's not just you that's out here researching and optimizing your listing and changing things. There's new people joining every day. Etsy is now a public company. They're growing fast. They want to bring more and more people on, sellers and buyers. So new listings are added every minute, maybe even quicker than that. Once you've made your listings, keep up on them. Stay ahead of your competition. That's who you have to outrun. And to do that, we've made a really cool, really quick tool. And you can use the shop filter for this. So for instance, I've searched for vinyl wall art on our keyword tool. This is the main tool. When you go in there, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have an ability to limit. So here I've set the limit to 500 because that covers the first 12 pages of Etsy search results. That covers a lot. Not too many buyers are going to go past page 12 looking for something. Then I'm filtering out all the other shops so I get rid of the noise. So here on the right, I can see only my shops. That 13 means I have 13 listings on the first 12 pages, which is fantastic because that's 13 opportunities to be in front of a potential customer when they search for vinyl wall art. Versus one, that's potentially 13 times as much traffic. Here's what that looks like in the matching items table. So when you scroll down the page there, after you do the filtering, you're going to see this table. You're going to have a title, you're going to see the rank, you're going to see the page, and the other stats to go along with this. Now specifically, when I'm doing this, I'm looking to find out what rank I'm on, what page I'm on. Now there's also a next, there's pages here, so you see the first 8. But as you saw, there are 13 over the first 12. So from here I can see I'm ranked number 3 on page 1, 49 overall. So this rank, I should mention, is overall rank. So 49 puts me on page 2, 87 puts me on page 3, 125 also puts me on page 3, 162 on 4. But this is fantastic. I come here and I just really have to look because everything's going my way. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fantastic. I'm doing my job. I have a listing on each page of this, so I'm getting all that extra traffic. Now, if I came here and I saw, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, oh my gosh, where'd the rest of them go? I'm missing 9 other pages. Well, now I know that I have to go back and I have to re-optimize my listings and get my SEO back on track. All right, I've done all of that. Now, keep on top of what your best keywords are doing. Do you know what your best keywords are doing? What the market's doing? We have a really cool keyword tracking tool. This is going to let you monitor keywords. So this big 4 on the top is because this is the 4th keyword I have on this page. And this one is starfish necklace. So I've been tracking this for a pretty short period of time. You can see since late July. But this is actually going to show me a rolling 12 months of tracking. So what I'm going to be able to do here is I'm going to be able to see how many results are coming back for starfish necklace. So when someone goes over to Etsy, types in starfish necklace in the search, they're going to see more recently roughly 12,750 results. Okay, that lets me know how big the market size is again, right? Is it growing? Is it shrinking? If I'm using a seasonal word, Christmas starfish necklace, right? I'll start to be able to see when that's getting more popular, when the market's starting to get more crowded, and make sure I make an educated decision about whether or not I want to stick with it. Or maybe I want to double down in the market. Either way, it's really good to know and make decisions with all the information available. Shops competing. So again, if I'm dealing with something seasonal, it's great to know when there's going to be a flood of other shops coming into the market. Or maybe shops are falling out of the market because I'm in a competitive market where some shops just can't cut it. Well, that's great to know. Highest price. We show both the highest price and lowest price. So here you can see this is a graph of the highest price. So as new listings enter the market, as new shops enter the market, maybe as the price of silver moves up or down, the highs and lows, and also the average, but the prices will fluctuate. So it's good to know. Don't let the high price, just leave you behind and all of a sudden you're the low price product, but you didn't intend to be. Here we have the average and median. The yellow line, of course, is the average. The orange is the median. And these help you figure out where that middle ground is. Because several of these keywords, there can be a wide range, from a couple dollars on the low to $100-some on the high. But what's in the middle? And again, this is going to be based on the top 100 listings. So compete with the best. Those are the ones you have to outrun. Average views per week. So again, seasonality. I haven't been tracking it long enough, but maybe summer is when beach jewelry like starfish really sort of peak, when people are coming out of the winter months and they're starting to get into the beach mood again. This is a tool that would let me find out. It would have been better for me to not start tracking it towards the end of July. I should have done that more towards the end of winter, but that's okay. I'm getting good information here. I'm seeing where they're trending. And if it starts going down in popularity because we're starting to leave the summer months, I'm going to see that too, and I'm going to know that I want to start putting keywords on these listings that make it relevant to other times. Average favorites per week, really the same as average views per week, except this is tracking engagement. So you're going to want to see, is engagement going down? Here it actually looks like engagement might be starting to go down just a bit. We saw there was a dip there in July, but right now it does look like towards the end of summer here, what feels like the end of summer, kind of that back to school. Back to school always made me feel like summer was over. So as that's going down, people are probably starting to get more into the fall mood, starting to get, prepare for winter, that kind of thing. So again, might be time to switch up those tags and the focus of my shop so I can keep that traffic all year long. All right, that wraps up my spiel on it. Gordon, I believe, wait, actually no, Michelle, I believe I'm kicking this over to you, aren't I?
You are so fired, Richie.
Real quick too, while we're doing this, guys, if you have questions that you want to shout out to any of us, feel free to post those to the Facebook page or on Google or YouTube. They should show up right here in our little sidebar, and we'll try to hit those as they come in.
Yeah, we actually have some questions already in the Facebook group. So actually, Richie, you can answer this. For the tools that you were showing, can you explain real quick what tools are available for just the entrepreneur level, and then also what tools are available for free use?
Yeah, of course. So everything is available for the entrepreneur. And then free use, the keyword search is available. You're not going to have rank, though. You're not going to have that shop filter. You're still going to be able to see what's strong. You're going to have to do some extra legwork. So those entrepreneur tools are going to add a lot of time savings to it. Most of those tools I just showed are really the entrepreneur tool set. That's probably the short of it.
But that's not to say that the free version of the keyword searching tool or anything like that isn't going to help you. It'll certainly help you narrow down everything. It's just it's not going to show you like the ranking and some of the other stuff that we got into, but it's still just as useful. It just means that you're going to have to look for your little photo to see where you're hitting on the first couple of things on the drop down. So keep that in mind. But you can still use the free Marmalade version and still help increase your stats when it comes to your searches and your views and where you're showing up and ranking on the first couple of pages within Etsy. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. That keyword search tool that I showed the filter from, I didn't show the rest of that tool, but it has a lot of what the keyword tracking has, but you're not going to be able to track it over time. It has a lot of what the keyword comparison tool has, but you're going to have to compare it. You're going to have to really analyze them one by one. And it's missing the ranking, but you can find out if you're in the top 100, like Michelle said, by finding your little image on your listing. And you'll know that at least. You won't know where in the top 100 you are as a free user, but you'll know you're in the top 100.
Cool. Thanks for answering that. Okay, so then another question that we got on Facebook that I wanted to answer that I'm also still going to answer throughout this whole entire thing is somebody, I think it's Tristy, I hope I'm saying that right. She wants to know if it's best to fill up her titles with tag words. I think the problem is she thinks that they don't look as nice when you fill up the title with tag words or keywords. So really quick, yes. What you want to do with your titles and your keywords is you want to have your title, basically your most important keywords are going to be the first words within your title, and then you're going to put them into the keywords at the bottom as well. I'll show you where to do that, but it's sort of, just think about it as double reinforcing. So if you're, let's say for me, I have funny greeting cards, at least I think they're funny. So that's generally the target that I go for is funny greeting cards. So my first word, and I'll show you real quick. Let's do screen share. Yay! Oh wait, let's not do that one. Hold on. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Oh, we'll do entire screen. There we go. Okay, so if you look, when you do your titles, you want to make sure that you are reinforcing everything that you do. So here I've got is a coffee mug, funny coffee mug, wiener dog, because it's a wiener dog, dog lover gift, dachshund, I think I said that right, if not, oh well, screw it. Coffee cup, gift for him, gift for husband, birthday gift, holiday gift. So I've covered all of what I'm trying to hit with my keywords inside of my title, and then underneath where all of my keywords go, I have them in the exact order that my title is in. The reason I do this is because it's reinforcing to the Etsy algorithm that I am freaking serious. These are the keywords that I want to use for my item, and this is what my item is. So when you're doing your titles and your keywords, make sure that you're matching up as much as you can. So basically your titles should all be repeated in your keywords in the same order that your title is written. So there is that. Hopefully I answered your question. I'll stop screen sharing real quick. I think it'll come back to me eventually. So there is that. So basically, with your titles, I know it's really hard. We've got a lot of questions about like how to find your keywords, how to find your titles. I've noticed a lot of people have a bit of trouble thinking outside of the box. For like greeting card, for example, they only ever use things to describe a greeting card, and they don't think of things in terms of how people are going to search for them or other ideas or suggestions that they might use when trying to locate something. So if you ever look at some of my stuff, like I had a coffee mug, but then I also was describing it as a gift for him. The reason I do that is because people will go into Etsy search, they'll type in gift for him, they won't have an idea exactly of what they're looking for, but once they see like my item and they think it's funny or they connect with it in some way from the photo, they'll click on it and then they'll buy it. So you kind of want to get your broad spectrum titles and keywords from not only what the item is, but how it can also be used. Okay, so let's go look at some shops. And if you guys have any questions, like Gordon said, you're going to want to type them in Marmalade in the Facebook chat or in the Facebook group, and I'll pay attention to them and try to answer them as we go along, as well as the YouTube channel. And there is a question and answer thing within Google as well for the Google Hangouts that you can type in questions, and we'll answer them as quickly as we possibly can or when we see them. So for the first shop that I pulled up today, I found the Muddy Moose, the bath boutique. I have to tell you, this shop is so freaking adorable, and I love the name. I think it's fantastic. I love her little tagline of a country look with a spa feel. I think that's freaking amazing marketing. It really, really is. However, with that said, you could have the best photos, you could have the coolest banner and really great descriptions, but if you're not being found in search, it's not going to matter. It will matter when people actually find you on that rare occasion, but it's not going to matter in the sense that if it's going to be a struggle to find you and you're not showing up on the first couple of pages of the things that you're trying to hit, no one's going to know you exist and you're not going to make as many sales as you possibly can. But in this instance, I have to say, like, I just love the whole entire feel of the shop. I think it's really great, and I think you've done a fantastic job, and it really, really shows. So one of the things that she wanted to know, Deborah wanted to know with this, was basically how can she find the best words or terms to use instead of just guessing. And one of the things that obviously Richie showed earlier was how to use Marmalade to find tags and keywords and things that people are actually using to locate a product. So what I'm going to do is we're actually going to click on an item. Let's see, what do I want to look for? Let's go look at poppy seed soap. So we've got, here we know what it is because it's a poppy seed soap. It's exfoliating soap, it's facial exfoliator, and it's fruity red raspberry. So those are the titles, the title and the keyword, some of the stuff that she's using. But let's go down here to her tags. So she is repeating some of them, but she's not repeating all of them. With soap, I know soap is really a highly competitive market. So we're going to go into Marmalade. Let's see. Oops. We're not going to turn cap locks on, so ignore that. We're going to type in handmade soap, and let's just see how competitive it is. Let's see how crazy it is. Chances are it's extremely competitive. And while it's analyzing, oh, okay, now it's up. So we know that, again, it's maxed out at 50K search results, so there's a crap ton of products under the handmade soap category. We're going to look for 500 because I just want to see what's being used. One of the things that you want to remember with the soap category or any category, there's no reason why you don't want to take advantage of what it could possibly be used for. So while people may be shopping for themselves looking for soap, they might also want to do bridesmaid gifts, and there's no reason why you couldn't put together like a bridesmaid set of soaps or bridesmaid gifts that coincide with your products. So not only then is somebody going to be able to find, you know, low-cost handmade gifts that are made exclusively for these people, for these bridesmaids or for the bridal party, you're also then going to hook these people on your products because they're going to use them, fall in love with them, and want more. At least that's the goal. So, let's go back to our Marmalade. Oh, it's going to take a while. Okay. So let's look at some of your other stuff while we're waiting. We've got like this 4-ounce milk lotion, goat milk lotion. So again, she's using the size, the goat milk lotion, what it contains, and some of the products. But while she's using some of that, I don't think many people are actually going to search thick and rich skin cream or anything like that, or contains shea butter. They might search for certain ingredients, but you can always look that up and try to verify that through Etsy itself. So let's look. Shea butter. So we do know that people do tend to search for shea butter cream. I always use Etsy as sort of like the search bar to kind of cheat sheet my way into like figuring out what people type out. So I will actually just use the search tool to find certain words that I might want to put together, like the shea butter soap, shea butter whipped, shea butter lotion, and then I'll write those down, and then you can take them into Marmalade and compare them between each other to see what's going to get your best result. So let's go back to Marmalade. Okay, so you know that handmade soap, it's got a crap ton of views. It has a lot of views. It has a lot of results, and there's a lot of shops that you're competing with. So what you want to do is I always like to click on what people are doing right. So I'll go into the actual first shop to see what they're doing. So they've got the type of soap that it is, handmade soap, cold processed soap. So they're repeating certain words. I like to repeat my words. I think repeating is sort of reinstating again what it is that your product is. So they've got soap twice, and it seems to be paying off for them. They also don't have that many I can't even talk. They don't have that many keywords. So honestly, in my opinion, their SEO, they're not taking advantage of as much as they possibly could. They're still doing well, but they're limiting themselves on the amount of sales that they're getting because they're not really casting their nets as far as they possibly can. So again, repeat your title within your keywords. You want to match them up so you reinstate what it is that your product is. Think outside of the box and think of other ways that you can market your material. You don't just want to stay under the category of what the product is. You also want to cast your net further and do something like, there's no reason why you couldn't do soap as a bridesmaid gift, a new mother gift, something for a teacher, something for your mother for Mother's Day. There's a ton of different categories that you could use it as. It could even be a bachelorette gift. But you want to make sure that you're using the best titles and the best keywords within the thing, but also sort of casting your net further. And also, you want to make sure that you use the words that you're trying to hit, or the keywords that you're trying to hit the strongest, the first in your titles, and the first in your keywords. I hope that answered that question. Let's stop the inevitable screen share. So, okay, we're going to go now to another shop, and I'm going to double check our questions to see if there's anything else that's getting asked. Richie, do you have any questions about soap? Gordon?
I feel pretty well versed in the whole soap
Yeah.
thing, so I think I'll be all right. That was a really great overview. I learned a lot.
Now you know what terms to use when you're selling soap. Fantastic.
Or buying it, yeah.
That's the other thing. It looks like a lot of people, like I said, they concentrate just on what the product should be used for versus what it could possibly, like the possibilities of what they could sell it for. And they also don't package things. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't want to take advantage of having a gift set for soap that's like some of your best-selling products, and then not only use that as like birthday gift, Mother's Day gift, like I said, bridesmaid gifts. There's no reason why you wouldn't want to do the work for somebody or for a customer when they're actually looking for something to buy. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to find your product, but then also to decide to buy it because you've already done the work for them. If you pre-package things and make it to where they don't have to think about it, they can just look at it, see the pretty pictures, read the description, go, oh my God, I want this, then you've saved them time and effort, and then you're going to win a customer from doing that.
And also along those lines, keep in mind what expertise your customer might have. So if your customer is not, a technical soap expert and doesn't know how to look at it like somebody who makes soap, who really knows what they're talking about, don't expect them to know that type of jargon and look for it that way, right? It's gonna be someone like me. I'm not gonna know anything technical about soap. I can find the aisle in Target and I can find some soap, and then like from there it's like, oh, what one do I want? Look at the packages, right? But I wouldn't know how to look for it any other way.
That's actually a really important point. I think that on our side, we're so used to the ingredients that we're using and what they're used for in the technical terms that we forget that customers generally aren't going to know all of that jargon. Some of them will, because you're going to have educated customers, or if you can actually educate them as to why they want your product more so than somebody else's product, that's huge. So you can do that within your descriptions itself. Like, you can explain what the benefits are for shea butter. You can explain what the benefits are from using a cold press soap versus one that's made from lye. I think I said that right. I don't know. I don't really know my soap all that well, but I know that there's two different processes. You can explain why goat's milk is important in the soap, or why using natural ingredients and natural, flowers or whatever is better than using oils or what have you. So take the time to educate your customers within the description and make it something that's sort of fun rather than just like listing the ingredients and kind of what they're for. Like, make them feel some sort of emotion. If you can tie in emotion to your descriptions and make them get excited for your product, it's sort of a no-brainer as to why then they would want to buy it. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so the next shop, let's screen share again. Whoops. Okay, so the next shop I found is actually Design Signs. Again, one of the things that I love about this shop is the banner is on point. The theme and the brand is on point because you've got all of these really cool signs. You can see most of them. It's up close. They're clear photos. They're really colorful. They're very, very cool. So one of the things that she was wondering is, why do other search stuff come up before hers? So sometimes what you'll notice is when you go to search things within Etsy or even Marmalade, you'll find people that who you think have kind of like crappy search terms and keywords and titles or whatever, don't really put that much effort into it. They show up first before your stuff. I know last year when Etsy changed their algorithm stuff, they ended up, I think what had happened was people who weren't changing their search categories within their items themselves were actually showing up on the first couple of pages because they weren't changing the stuff to like better organize what the product was that they were selling. And then actually recently Etsy again changed the search categories to be a little more direct and a little more clear as to what the product is. So instead of just selecting as a category a greeting card, it's now more specific with Mother's Day card, birthday card, anniversary card, and all these other like different sections that you can select your categories. And they've done that for everything. So make sure part of the reason you may not be showing up now is because you haven't changed your categories. Double check your categories and make sure that you've changed them. Here, I'll show you how to do that. Hold on one second. Okay, so if you want to change your categories, you're going to go to the listing manager and you're going to select the items that you want to change. You're going to go to more actions and then you're going to go to categories. And this will allow you to change and be more specific as to what your categories are. Do this for all of your items. I cannot emphasize this enough. Do it. Because it's going to help you with your search. Anyway, okay, so on to this. On to design signs. So another thing I want to be clear on, I'm not saying that if you change your categories, you're automatically going to show up on the first page of every single freaking thing. It may be a number of reasons as to why you're not showing up. But you want to make sure you give yourself the best chance possible. So you want to, whenever Etsy makes the changes on certain things, you want to make those changes as soon as you can, because that's going to help you out. That's going to make sure that you're on top of the forefront of whatever it is that they're making changes on. So let's see. Okay, so here we've got this: a family established sign, wooden last name sign, wood wedding date sign, wooden est sign, pallet wood family initial sign, and wedding gift. Chances are people are not looking for wooden est sign. Let's see, are they looking for it? While that searches, we're going to go through your other stuff. So we've looked at your titles. Now let's see your keywords. Your keywords are not really matching a lot of your stuff. So that right there is part of the issue as to why maybe some other people are showing up sooner than you are. I would also look at their items and the way that they've structured their titles and their tags. If they're not matching up their titles and their tags, chances are there's something else. Either it's like favorites, because I know depending on how many views you get, how many favorites you get, that also helps you in Etsy search algorithm, which is why they stress why treasuries are so important. But the other thing is you want to make sure you're doing everything that you know you can to get as high as you possibly can within each page. So again, match your title and your keywords and use the strongest ones that you want for the first parts of your title and then match it up with your keywords at the bottom. The other thing is you've got the home decor, you have wall decor, wall hangings, but you're not reinstating that within your titles and your tag. The other thing that you could do is you have it as a wedding gift, but it's at the end of this. So I would even do wedding gift, gift for bride, gift for groom, if you want to get really specific for the wedding crowd. Otherwise, you could even do housewarming present. Make sure that you do like living room art or things that coincide with that, because again, just because you're describing what the product is doesn't mean that people are going to be searching specifically for that thing. I mean, obviously when it's jewelry, they are looking for jewelry, but there are other terms that you can use that won't necessarily be jewelry but are still going to sell them, like gift for her, Valentine's Day gift, anniversary gift. So you want to make sure you're using not only the word that the product is, but also what it could be used for. So for this, you could do family art, custom wooden art, custom sign, things like that, and then compare them in Marmalade to see what people are actually searching for. So again, wooden est sign actually it's getting 47,000 views, but compared to everything else, I mean, you're showing up. So you might want to keep that on some of them, but I wouldn't necessarily use that on every single one. Just because I don't know how many people actually would search for that. I would never think to search for that. And here it's showing you wooden sign is a powerful one to use, and a lot of those have used them within their tags and their titles. And then another thing is this at the bottom, again, shows you the most used tags and what's important within what people are using. Like lake house sign probably isn't being used so much or searched. So keep that in mind when you're doing your things, your titles and tags. Okay, I think we have a question. Let's stop screen sharing. Do you have any questions about sign? Boys, anyone? Did you mute yourself and forget to unmute yourself?
I did mute myself and tried to talk at one point and wasn't able to. That's okay.
What were you going to say?
At this point, I remember it was a while ago, and I just didn't want to interrupt. But you made good points about the sign. Actually, while you were talking, I looked up wooden est signs, and I had no idea that's what they were. I didn't know what to expect, and then when I looked it up, I saw them, and I was like, oh, I know what you're talking about. Those whole family signs that say established.
Like when you got married, which is actually a perfect thing to do for like wedding gifts. So I would actually even use that for my first couple of tags or my first couple of keywords, because chances are when somebody's getting married, what perfect present to give for a newly wedded couple than a sign that celebrates their union. Or even an adoption. You could have one for like adoptions, because I know they even do like adoption announcements. So what cooler gift could you possibly give a family to have like the newly adopted members at the bottom and then, you know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Get them thinking about it before they're, before they know that's what they want, because I don't know, it didn't just pop into my head, and I didn't even know what it was when you said wooden est signs. I was like, what the heck is that? But now I know what it is. It makes perfect sense. But you've got to catch me back when I'm thinking about it's gift time. Think about this. If I see it, I'm interested. But I just was on that track otherwise.
Okay, so we have one question, and I think we'll do that, and then we'll probably go back to Gordon, because I know we've gone. We're actually on time, though, for the most part, right, today?
That we are.
Woohoo! Okay.
All right, are you seeing the question from Kathy?
Yeah. I was like, didn't we see your shop last time? I think we did. Okay, so if you can actually link some of the products that you've changed. I know that when I looked before, like the boho, gypsy, hemp bracelet, hemp jewelry, macrame, beach wedding, I don't think that's taking advantage of all of your title space and your keywords. Remember, you have 13 keywords. You want to use every single freaking one. And then the other thing that you want to keep in mind is when your brand is getting well known, or you're getting somewhat of a following, on a couple of your items, you want to make sure to put your shop name at the bottom last keyword. Because what will happen is sometimes when people are looking for your shop, they're not going to click on the little link below when they're starting to type your shop name to actually search for the shop name. So if they don't click that, if they're not paying attention and they just do a search, if none of your items your items have your shop name in it, you're not going to show up. And then if they don't go, oh, I forgot to click on the shop name, they're going to be like, holy crap, the shop is gone. And then they're going to panic and they're going to go somewhere else. So keep that in mind as well.
I like how that all played out right there.
Did you?
That was really good, yeah.
You're welcome. Okay, so can you send me a link, Kathy, to some of the stuff that you've worked on? Because remember, use all 13 keywords. Try to fill up your titles as much as possible. Oh, and the other thing that we discussed our last video is to use commas instead of dashes or instead of backslashes or whatever. When you use commas, you're taking up as much space as you possibly can with your words versus having to do spaces between a slash, a word, a slash, space, slash, whatever. So try to do that. And I think that's it.
One of the other questions that came up on Thursday, too, that I thought was really good was somebody wanted to know when they're switching up their tags and they're switching up pricing or title changes, they wanted to know how long to let that sit before they should realize, like, okay, this did have a positive impact or had a negative impact or didn't have any impact. I thought that was a good question, Michelle, and you fielded it pretty well last time.
You're right. I forgot to even mention that. Thanks for bringing it up, Gordon. So with your changes, when you make changes, I always hate to tell this little secret because I'd like to think that I'm the only one who knows of it and I'm the only one who's using it, but I'll be nice because I don't know. Anyway, so what you want to do is when you make your changes on your titles and your keywords, renew your item. I always like to think of it as sort of like jump-starting things and sort of kicking Etsy in the butt and telling them that you've made changes and that they better hurry up and freaking make those changes and make it reflect within your search results. Because you're kind of paying for it. It's 20 cents. It's not that expensive. And if you get on the first page once you've gone ahead and renewed it, then you know that you're headed in the right direction. So once you've made the changes, you've gone ahead and renewed it, go ahead and check your listing within an hour. And then you should see where you're hitting within the pages of the keywords that you're trying to hit. Now, when it comes to how long you're going to wait to see if it's actually effective within your shop and if people are actually clicking on your things or on your listings once they've hit the search page, I would say give it a week or two. If it's something like Christmas, you should start seeing immediate results when I would say it hits like the end of October, because that's sort of when people start going crazy and wanting to like buy Christmas crap. But you should start seeing things move within a week or two. I know we had a couple of people in our last webinar that actually made some changes and had a sale within like a few minutes of making those changes and having the stuff actually start showing up on the search results. The other thing to remember is use Marmalade to figure out what people are using for their photos within the products that you're selling. If you have really dark photos as your product photos and everyone else is super bright and super clear, chances are people aren't going to click on your photos. They're not going to care. They're going to go to whatever looks prettiest. That's just the way that humans work. We want pretty crap. So try to make your photos clear and pretty and look cohesive within your shop for your branding, but also that they stand out enough within like the photos, but they're not too dark or they're not too blurry or whatever, because there's a lot of things that you're competing with and it's not just search results. Did that answer your question, Gordon?
Yeah.
Does that mean you're next? Do you have any other questions?
Any other questions in?
We've got Kathy, but I'm going to respond to her in the chat.
Okay.
I know we sort of talked about her stuff last time. And I got a message from Dara, who went to the webinar last time and is now at the webinar again because she's just so addicted to us because we're that captivating. She said she likes her slashes. So you can like your slashes all you want. That's fine, and you can use them if you really want to. However, think about it this way. What's going to get you the most keywords and the most words in your freaking titles? Is it slashes or is it commas? And then you can make your decision. Okay, I'm done.
All right, so what we'd like to do is share with you guys a little bit about the next feature that we're building into Marmalade. Pretty excited about this. Richie and I have been talking about it between the two of us for a couple weeks now. Really think it's a good direction to head, and will be really helpful to you guys. It kind of mirrors a lot of what we were talking about tonight. And so I've got a set of screens that we have put together. This is not built in any way yet. These are just screens of what it's likely going to look like. And so I'm going to walk through those and share them with you. And you're among the first set of people to see these, minus the 150 people that saw them on Thursday, and minus Richie, who saw them Thursday morning. So without further ado, this is the classified preview of the listing Marmalizer, for lack of a better name. At this point, will be renamed to something much better later.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
I forgot the music from last time. I figured I might.
I did forget the music, and I didn't turn on the fog machine either. God.
You're seriously fired. You're out of here. Gone. Just leave.
You'll have to go back and watch the other one. No, don't do that, because we didn't do that. I feel horrible if anyone actually does that. All right, so the goal with what we want to do with the listing analyzer is allow you to put in one of your shop listings and basically go through all the steps that we just went through with you tonight, but kind of hold your hand through them in Marmalade and really hopefully leverage Marmalade to do a lot of that heavy lifting work for you. So I'm going to show you how that works here. The very first screen of it is going to ask you to enter a URL for your listing that you basically want to marmalize, or pick better keywords for, and hopefully rank better in different markets. So we enter our URL. We'll pull back your the photo of your item here, and then ask you to describe it in 4 different ways. So we can kind of seed it with some good suggestions, and Marmalade can get a good idea of how you describe your own listing. We will go ahead and cross-reference the tags that you're using right now and your title, and any strong matches that exist between the two we'll go ahead and put in there for you, but then it'll be up to you to fill in the rest of them. Or you can feel free to change any of the ones that get auto-populated if you don't like the ones that we're pulling in as suggestions of ways that you can describe your listing. So that's the first step. Next step, we'll go back and we'll run an analysis of those 4 keywords that you just gave us. And so we'll incorporate things like the tags from other items, like the Bing search results. And for the first time ever, we're actually going to be pulling back some keyword suggestions based on the keyword searches that people have done in Marmalade. So at this point, we have about 60,000 different keyword searches that people have done for different Etsy items. And just playing around with the data, we've noticed that there's a lot of different trends we can pull forward. When someone searches for, say, ballpoint pen, we can look and say, okay, for the people who search for ballpoint pen, what else did they search for in Marmalade? What other keywords seemed appealing to them that they also wanted to find? Or we can break down our other searches and say what searches include the words ballpoint and the words pen, and give you a whole big, huge list of different suggestions for how you could best describe your listing. And what you're going to do on this screen is you're going to scroll through that massive list of ideas and just start checking off the ones that you think would really fit your listing and ones that would be a really good way of describing your item that you're listing on Etsy. And so we've gone through here, we've checked off some more of these things, we picked 20 of them. We're excited now because we're going to start crunching the numbers and figuring out which of those are the best ones to use. But before we do that, we really want to get a good understanding of what your costs are, what your manufacturing costs are for your listing, so that when we're looking at pricing info, we can make sure that we're able to compete in those markets, right? We're not going to use these dollar amounts here to actually set our price for how we want to list our listing, because we really want to rely on the market to do that. We don't want to make sure we're not leaving any money on the table. If we could be pricing higher and still be competitive with that market at the position that we want to be, we don't want to list for less because we only wanted to make 10% profit when we really could be making 30% profit. So you'll fill in.
Can I interject real quick?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. So I said this last time, and I think it's really important to say. When you're trying to figure out the cost or what you should be listing your items at, in the end of everything, you really are is only as much as you say you're worth. So let's say for my stuff, for example, like I do these cards, and I'm going to try and censor my card. So my cards, generally cards run anywhere from like $2.99 to $5 or $6, depending on what they are. This is the smaller versions of cards that I offer, and generally people offer them at $4. However, my cards have added glitter to them and other like crap that I put on it. So I could continue having them at $4 because that's what everyone lists them as, and that's just going to make me more competitive, or most competitive. Or I could put them at $6 or $5 because I'm putting more time and effort into it, and I'm only ever going to get as much as I ask for it. I'm not going to know what somebody's going to pay for something unless I try. So as long as you're reinstating why you're worth what you think you're worth, people are going to buy your stuff. So don't try and lowball. I mean, you can, and that's a marketing tactic that you can use. But remember, if you only ever ask for $5 for something, you're only ever going to get $5. And if that's not going to help you make a living, then you're shortchanging yourself and you're screwing yourself over.
It's a great example of being a premium product.
Boom. All right, so excellent. Thank you for jumping in with that, Michelle. That is absolutely true, and it's an important thing to keep in mind, I think. So please do that. Um, back to the walkthrough here. We've picked our tags, or our possible tags, 20 different options. We can only use 13, right? So we've got to whittle that list of 20 down to the best 13 to use. So the final step is to marmify your listing, and that's where Marmalede's really going to come in and start doing some heavy lifting here. We're going to go through and we're going to do keyword searches for every single one of those 20 tags that you gave us, and we're going to go ahead and label each one of those markets. So at the bottom of the screen, start at the bottom because that's probably easiest to start there. We've labeled these markets as whether it's a niche market, whether it's a large market, and that's going to tell you how big that market is and how many shops and how many listings you're actually competing with in those markets. And then we're going to score the markets on engagement, number of views, number of favorites, how much activity there really seems to be around those different markets. And using these touch points, we can really help to hone in on which are the best markets to attack here. We'll look at the median price for each one of those markets to make sure that we can compete, and all the items listed around us are kind of going to be the same dollar amount if that's what you're going for. But kind of as Richie and Michelle were talking about, if you want to price yourself above that and appear as the premium product, you can do that, but you still need to know what that median price is so that you can make sure you're positioned at a point that would put you as a premium product in that market. And likewise, if you want to be a more cost-effective product, if you want to be a cheaper product, you can make sure you're undercutting that median price as long as your cost of producing it still doesn't put you, you're not losing money for everything that you're building here. And then next to each one of those markets too, we're also going to show you how often you would need to renew your listing in order to stay competitive in those search results. Michelle talked about, renewing your listing does give you a little bit of a bump on Etsy. If your tags and your title aren't in line with each other, renewals aren't going to help you as much in the markets that you're trying to target. But if you are hitting both of those and you do renew every so often, that's going to be a nice little bonus. So we're showing you there how often you would have to relist this listing in order to stay on top of that market. And we've auto-selected the best 13 as far as what we think are the best 13 for you to use. And then we've pre-built a title for you. So we've pulled in 3, 4, 5 of those keywords and put them at the front of your title. Feel free to finesse that, add your own little charm, add other keywords in there that you want. Any other descriptive text that you want to put into your title. And we'll go ahead and suggest a price too. So this price is going to be based on the median prices for all of the markets that we're looking at targeting. Probably going to want to be just a hair above the median over in kind of, I would say, in general. That could change depending on what you're trying to do. And feel free to change the price yourself because you know best, obviously better than Marmalade even does, of what you want to price your item at. We're just giving you a suggestion here. This is a good starting position. And then we'll tell you, based on the costs that you entered, how much profit you can expect to make per sale. So that's a good number to know. At the bottom of this, after you scroll down and check off all the different, make sure you have the right tags selected that you actually want to target, you go ahead and there'll be a button to update your listing. And then we'll show you side by side where you were before and after you made those changes to your listing. So there's the title before we made these additions to it and afterward. So we've got strong matches, just like Michelle was talking about earlier, for the tags that we're targeting and the words that we're using in our titles. And I'm sorry, I didn't use commas in this, or slashes. I use dashes because I'm a rebel like that.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, actually.
Feel free, on this screen, feel free to change your delimiter to be consistent, across your shop with however you like to do that. So we've taken these and we've done also keyword searches on the tags that you were using and where you were ranked in those markets. You can see some of these ones that we had before, gift, teal, pink. I mean, these are very generic ways of describing something, and I can imagine there's going to be more than 50,000 results returned by Etsy. The chances of ranking in the top 100 for those is probably pretty low, just because they're so competitive, and there's probably things that are going to be targeting those a lot stronger. And then afterward, now we've got you can even see at a glance that we've picked out longer keywords here. So These are longer tail keywords, better ways of describing your listing. They're probably mostly going to be smaller markets, and just updating and making sure these things hit in our title, you're going to rank higher. And with the added bonus of the little bump when you relist, you're going to find your things at rank 2, 8, 3. Definitely on towards the first few pages. So here you can see the impact that you just had on this listing as we walked through it step by step and kind of revisited things and made sure we were targeting the right markets. So that is the next tool that we're looking at building out, and pretty excited about it. We hope that you guys are too. Yeah, that's about it.
The other thing I'd like to point out, with your listings in your shop in general, the prices that you're asking for, if you're not putting the work into your photos, your description, your about page, your policies, people aren't going to want to buy from you. So if you, let's say your competition is priced at like $40 and you're asking for $80, but your photos suck and your description is like 1 sentence long and you have no policies, chances are no one's going to buy from you. They're not going to want to. So if you're not going to put the effort into actually reinstating why your store has value or why your items have value, people are going to look over your stuff, they're going to go somewhere else, and they're going to find a place that reinstates why it is they should buy from that shop versus yours. So you have to put the effort into it. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it and it'll pay off. You just have to be consistent with it. You can't just work on one thing and be like, that's it, I'm done, my shop is golden, but then forget everything else that goes into running a shop.
Yep, that's a very good point. SEO, the job of SEO is really to get you guys on the first page of results, first couple pages of results, and hopefully target each page. Get an item like Richie was showing on each page of the results. When you're hitting an item on all 12 pages, that's awesome. But again, that's only putting you there. You still have to do those other things. You have to make sure your photos are compelling to people. You have to build that interest and that desire to really help people take the action of buying your item. And like Michelle's saying, make sure you're giving the attention you need to your descriptions, to your photos. While those won't really help you directly with SEO, those are extremely important in closing the deal and convincing people to pull the trigger and to actually make their purchase. So make sure you are giving those their due attention.
Yeah, keep in mind, when you're buying online, you can't pick up a product and hold it. You can't feel the quality. They don't know you. You're not, they're not actually in your physical shop. So everything that you are presenting to them, you are presenting through a screen. And that's all they know. All right. Well, I think that wraps us up, unless you guys have any final words.
Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? I would just say, I know that it's really overwhelming to try and think of every aspect that you need to change within your shop. And I know that it's really overwhelming to figure out what works best for you. There's going to be things that may not work well for you within this that may work well for other people. So you're going to have to sort of experiment and figure out what works for your shop, what works for you specifically. But one of the things I would suggest is take each little project and work on it a little bit at a time. So I know a lot of people have other jobs that they have and other responsibilities and kids and whatever. So if you can, every night, work on maybe 5 listings or 10 listings or whatever it is that works for you, and just sort of chip away at it. If you can start working on things and start reading even about SEO, every new listing that you list is going to have an impact of where you show up in search. So even if some of your old titles or your old listings aren't as powerful or as strong as they could be, by reading up on things and what your categories are and who you're trying to market to, when you start listing new items, those are going to show up sooner than your other stuff, so it's still going to impact your shop. So just take a breath and work on it as when you can, but know that if you're doing your homework and you're consistent at it, it's slowly going to change and you're going to see a difference.
That is great. All right. So if you've made it this far also, we have a recording of the first one, and you can find that on our YouTube page, the first webinar. The first portion of the webinar is pretty much the same. It's a little bit different. I added some different slides, but when Michelle starts looking at shops and starts answering questions, those are totally different between the webinars. So if you like this, do go over there, skip forward to the part where we start looking at shops and watch those as well. You're going to get a lot out of it. And we went on for quite a long time on that first one, so there's a good bit of content in there. That was almost a 2-hour webinar. So do yourself a favor and head over there.
First one, you can't like hold us responsible for it being our first webinar. Like, of course we're gonna go on. We're like inexperienced new people. Like, we don't know what we're doing.
Pop some popcorn, get your Snuggie, and then just like hunker down for the good 2-hour segment. You'll enjoy it.
I would like a Snuggie, please. Somebody send me one. That would be amazing, actually.
Yeah, get yourself a Red Bull while you're at it, because again, it's 2 hours.
Hey, I have to say, Dara's been a trooper. She watched the first one all the way through and is now on the second one. So obviously we're not like too terrible that somebody else has watched them.
That is true.
And actually we have a comment now. Yay, somebody's taking advantage of them. Catherine is super excited for the new tool that you're introducing for the entrepreneurial version of Marmalade.
Hey, that's fantastic. Well, Catherine, we're looking forward to it as well. So, can't wait to let you try it. Gordon, get working on it.
There we go.
You're like, done. Just posted it.
I wish.
But it's up there now, so good luck.
That's right. All right, so it's time to sign off, guys. If you're not already a Marmalade user, go to marmalade.com and sign up, become a user. Also, check out Michelle's website, 4letterwordcards.rocks. Check out her resources section. I was there. Okay, resources section, business resources or something like that. Marmalade is in there as well. It's #1 on your page. So
I'm going to actually be adding to it as well. So I do this for my full-time job, like my store and everything else, and I do consulting as well for Etsy shops. This is my business, so I try to help everyone that I possibly can. So go there, look at the resources. I will be updating them. I'm having a blog about it as well for things that I find useful. And then also, if you want other classes, I'm totally up to teaching them. I know Richie wants to host other ones, and Gordon totally wants to be a part of it because he's oh so talkative.
What?
Please. You're just like the quiet mastermind in the back. Like, I imagine you thinking of coding as you're talking. Or like thinking of new ideas like as we're going along. But please let us know what classes you're interested in. We can do customer service. We can do other stuff that focuses on the shop photos and everything else. Like, there's a ton of resources and we have them available. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want. And then Bunny actually wants to know how long before the new tools are available.
All right. With that, I'm going to sign off. I will catch you guys later.
Do we need to start cracking the whip on you or what? Jeez, come on, you're slacking.
Richie's probably going to give her my email address and then no.
Yeah, just make sure to contact Gordon at marmalade.com.
That's the one.
No, it's that or it's Gordon's coding sometimes sucks and uses slashes at gmail.com. You should have been using commas.
I like dashes for readability, but that's just me.
Whatever.
I actually like slashes, but...
You know what? Both of you suck.
We're going to have a poll. We're going to put a poll up and see what people say.
Whatever.
No, Bunny, to answer your question, we're looking at probably about a month's worth of development on that. We have been targeting early September, but I think that's going to be tough to hit at this point. So it's probably about a month away, I'm hoping, unless we run into something crazy. But it's a valid question.
And also, if you have suggestions for what things you'd like to see on Marmalade, contact Richie and contact Gordon. There are chat options, I think, within Marmalade itself once you're signed in. Let them know what tools you need. I have been, I think, sometimes a little too vocal on the stuff that I'd like to see, but I'm always like telling Richie, hey, you should implement this tool. Hey, this would be useful for a shop, and this is why. Tell them what you want. Tell them why it would be beneficial for shop owners so that they know to make it a priority. And if it's something that is truly useful, they'll certainly do everything they can within their capabilities to make it happen. That's the great thing about them, is that they're totally open to suggestion, and they want to make your dream tool, but they need that information to know what it is.
That's fantastic. Yep. Do exactly what Michelle just said.
You're welcome.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Goodbye.